Rapping Big Pooh.
Yes, sir.
Phonte. Thank you guys for talking to the people at Ambrosia for Heads and AFH TV.
Yo, man.
How you guys doing tonight?
Tired, man.
Tired.
Been running for over 12 hours now.
For good reason, man. Y'all dropped a great project early in the week.
Thank you.
Did it on a Monday too, surprise attack. Why did y'all decide to release it that way?
I thought that we thought that was the time where it would speak to the people most.
Yeah.
People, our fans, they're in their 30s, 40s. Cats is working jobs and they need music to get them through the week.
Yeah.
So they want something that's gonna, give them that fuel to just help their days go by faster. And when the album's dropping on Fridays, it's just like, I always thought that was just a terrible day to drop music because
you don't get time to live with it.
Yeah.
Like life takes over on the weekend.
Get lost on the weekend.
Yeah, and that's not real life on the weekend. Like real life right. is Monday through Friday until 5, 6 o'clock. So,
that speaks to the mentality too. Like it's a grown man rap album, and as grown-ups, we got kids on the weekends, activities, stuff like that. But commuting back and forth to work, doing what we got to do. We got plenty of time to listen to music.
Exactly. Got time to connect with it.
Yeah. So the album is called "May the Lord Watch," and a lot of the themes in it really talk about kind of life's plans, how we're trying to do things, and it rarely works out how we want it to or expect it to, but it all seems to kind of come together by design. So why did you guys choose the name?
I think it was just indicative of just where we are just at this point in our lives, and just how seeing just a lot of death and living through a lot of loss, and just seeing how you never think that it's the last time you're gonna talk to somebody until it is. You know what I mean? So this was just our way of just showing that for the first time in our careers, just as a group, me and Pooh really took care of each other, just on a as friends and as brothers, even outside the music. And just until the scripture, there's a lot of variations on there, but in our church they would always say, may the Lord watch between you and me while we're absent one from another. And that was just the benediction, that was the parting greeting at the end of every service. And we felt that was important for us, just because we don't know if this is the last album we're gonna make. This could be our last time doing this, and and if it is, I wish you happiness, I wish you peace, I wish you love, and we pray that the Lord watches over all of us, and while the Lord is watching over us, we gonna watch over each other, and that was where it came from.
I saw a documentary recently where you were saying that one of the things that got you to reach out to Phonte was when Five Dog died.
Yeah, man.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, 2016, March 2016. I had just spoke to Fife maybe a couple weeks, month or so before he passed. We had did some music together, and he was talking about getting it mixed, and it was just getting it mixed, and so we spoke about that briefly. I had saw Fife a few months before that, and so when I heard he passed, and it was like, yo, this is somebody I just spoke to recently. Like, we were making plans, you know what I'm saying? And it hit home for me. Like, it really hit home. Like, I grew up listening to Fife, and then to go from growing up listening to Fife to being able to, form some type of relationship with him, it just hit home. And then to find out that Tribe was working on, right. A project at the time, like all that just, had me thinking about my own situation or our situation. And I reached out to Tay like that night, and I just told him, I said, look, man, even if we never speak again, I just want to let you know that you're my brother and I love you and I wish you well. And he ended up responding shortly after I sent the text and was like, yo, man, the same, like, I love you too. And then he hit me later that night and was like, hey, look, man, the next day or so, let's get on the phone. And we ended up getting on the phone and you know, talking for about 4 hours, man. We just went through everything, you know, the miscommunications we had or the lack of communication and just all the different things, and really went through it so we understood where we erred. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really move forward till you understand what need repairing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you can get in that car, you know what I'm saying? I can patch that up for you now, but
you gonna need a new tire.
Yeah, you're gonna need a new tire, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that us going through everything allowed us to really heal finally. Like, it's a scar, it was a scar, but now that it got corrected, it got that neosporin on it, you know what I'm saying? So
that A&D on it.
Yeah, that A&D, you know what I'm saying? Throw that cocoa butter on it and it eventually heals. And so that was that, you know, Phife, you know, somebody asked earlier, like, would we be here if it wasn't, you know, for Phife's death? And, you know, who's to say yes or no? But I think things were eventually heading, at least into the direction of reconciliation. That Phife's passing, I think, just really, it was like the thing that finally pushed, you know, us over the edge. Like, okay, y'all not moving fast enough. Like, here you go. And so, yeah, man, like that's kind of, you know, that's how it went down.
Yeah. You talk on the album about healing scars. So can you talk a little bit more about the importance of forgiving, but not necessarily forgetting? You know, because a lot of times you learn from your mistakes. You don't want to forget. But
yeah, man. You never forget.
You never forget.
You never forget.
Forgiving, man. Like, he said something. I think it was yesterday. It could have been today. I don't know.
All this shit run together.
But he said something, and we actually spoke about this before about something else. And forgiveness isn't for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness allows you to not carry that around anymore. And it's and even in our situation, once I sent that text out, even if he never responded, when I sent that text out, that was me saying, you know what?
I'm at peace with it.
I'm at peace. I'm good. Like, I'm good now. And that's what forgiveness, that's them healing scars, man. You gotta, forgiveness is for you to let the burden go, to finally get that weight off of your back, and for you to begin to heal. And those are the healing scars, man. We both we begun healing, and it just so happens we were able to come and do it together. You know what I'm saying? And so I felt that was part, like, for me, that was important to state in there, because a lot of times people think that, it's petty or simple. I mean, it was petty, but it's simple or it's easy or it's like, nah, like, grown man time means you got to put everything on the table.
Yeah.
And putting everything on the table
is uncomfortable.
That's very uncomfortable. Like, there's nothing comfortable about that.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to go there to truly actually get that scar.
And to grow.
And to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about kind of the arcs in your guys' trajectory, there's been a lot that has kind of been by chance, right? The reunion recently was by chance when Boys couldn't show up and you guys put in the cause. You know, the fact that you reached out was because of something that was tragic, but, you know, may or may not have. And when you go all the way back, you guys got together because
Medium
was supposed to be right.
Yeah.
Right.
Medium missing the studio session.
Yeah, so you think that y'all would have still connected, or like on Final Destination, would it have been fate, or would it have been a sliding doors moment where it just would have never happened?
If you missed it, it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because we had already connected, you know, just in the beginning, just in school, just seeing each other on the yard and, you know, just kind of shooting the shit, you know what I mean, the English building, just, you know, just kind of running with each other in that way. But so I think it would have always been a connection there. I just think, you know, I don't believe in accidents. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's just a big thing that comes to my mind just in thinking about it is just surrender. You know what I mean? Just giving in and just saying, you know what, God, I don't know why this is happening, but I'm just gonna give in and accept what it is and trust that this is leading me in the right direction, and trust that you know what's best. You know what I mean? You really just have to let go and that was a big part of it. I think it's still, you know, it may have happened differently. I mean, who's to say? But there's no doubt in my mind that it would not have happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, this the crazy thing is this whole thing, you know, at least from my end, originally, if it was up to me, I would have never ended up in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to Old Dominion.
Okay.
I'm like literally North Carolina Central was already in session when it was brought to my attention, I can get you in the school for free.
Right.
Like I was packed up, ready to go to Old Dominion to start. I had my ID and everything, and so from that point forward, this was meant to be. Like this was God's plan. Like I had a plan.
God was like,
God was like, nah, that ain't my plan for you. And I said it earlier. Like the crazy thing is, like a lot of people will fight what is supposed to be because they have their own plan. Mm-hmm. But for me, I always walked through the door that I didn't necessarily choose, but I said, you know what, I'm going to take this walk out on faith and go through this door because for some reason something's leading me over here. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to go over here, but something lead me over here, so I'm gonna go see what this is all about. And it kept happening. It kept happening. I got to school late. Me getting to school late means I didn't get a spot in the dorm. I had to stay in the hotel for half a semester. Mm-hmm. So by the time I did go to the dorm, I was on the hall I wasn't supposed to be on. I was with all upperclassmen. Being on the hall with all upperclassmen means I ended up going into a room of one of the RAs, upperclassmen, where Tay walks in. So, like, all those different things.
None of that shit was accident.
Nah, it was.
None of that shit was accident.
Yeah, one thing could be coincidence. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nah, that was the design.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
Right? Yeah. You know, when you guys made the first album, listening to music was truly an immersive experience. So, what's your approach like creating in a world of playlists and algorithms and music as background?
It's the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You still have to believe in the power of the music, even though people may be consuming it differently. Mm-hmm. And you know, when we were making this record, you know, we talked about, you know, just the skits, and we had like all these ideas. Like, okay, I was kind of plotting the shit out, like in my phone, just writing bits out and everything. And you know, I had the thought, I was like, well, man, do skits really work in a playlist world? You know what I'm saying? And that was why just all the skits on the record, you know, it was just something I learned just from my work in TV. Is just that if you're writing something, if you're telling jokes, you know what I mean, your jokes, you got to hang them on something real. They have to, even if you're doing a joke, the jokes still have to move the story forward, and the jokes still have to tell us something about the character or about the characters in that scene. So, you know, man, with all the skits we on the record, they're funny and they're like these just quite crazy bits, but every skit is telling you what happened to a character in the kind of fictional LB universe. Every skit is telling you, oh, so this is what happened to Roy Lee, and oh, Scudder's a white man again, and oh, Percy died. You know what I mean? It's that thing. And so the crazy thing is that, well, the other day I went on Spotify and I looked at our numbers, and generally, like, you go to some albums and it'll be like, you know, one song will have like all these crazy fucking plays, and then the skit will be like 2,000. You know what I mean? It'll be super, but for our album, all the numbers are consistent. I mean, you have some songs, of course, that play a little more, but all the songs, they're all pretty consistent. They're in, you know, within, you know, 10, 20,000 plays of each other. And, you know, that's a sign to me that people are consuming it as a complete work of art. And for that to happen in 2019, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I just thank God for it all. You know what I mean?
Well, y'all also made it very digestible, keeping it in 37 minutes.
Oh yeah. That was.
We got shit to do, man.
We got shit to do, man. And it was crazy because one of the things I saw a brother on Twitter, and I had a couple of brothers that they was like, yo, man, this album is perfect commute music. I can run this shit end to end on my commute to work. I listen to it at my desk, then on my way home, I listen to it again to get me home. You know what I'm saying? And those are the kind of compliments that, I mean, just money can't buy, man, because that is proof that people are letting you into their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's resonating in a different way.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful.
So the first song, The Feel, it feels like it's kind of two parts. One is Notice, letting people know that y'all are back and your skills are just as razor sharp as they've always been. The second part sounds kind of like self-motivation, though. So can you guys talk about
the second verse?
Second
verse.
Other themes in the song, you know. So can you talk about about the dedication required to sustain a career over this amount of time?
I don't know if it's dedication as much as it's just insanity.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. Dedication, that's being too nice. This ain't got shit to do with dedication. Yeah. It's just, crazy as fuck and you can't think of nothing else to do.
It's like
no other job would have you. What the fuck else would you do if you were doing it? You know what I'm saying?
Like you gotta truly have a love for this, man. Like you gotta truly have a love for creating music. Speaking to this specifically, but I would imagine this is for any painting,
any discipline,
But you have to have a true and genuine love for to get through the valleys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be able to be Bundini Brown for yourself in the mirror. Like, you know what I mean? Like
be your own corner man.
Got to be your own corner man because you're gonna go through valleys. Like it ain't all peaks.
But how do you maintain the love in those valleys?
You already gotta have the love. Like
the
love is what pushes you through. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't the want. It ain't the oh man, okay, I make it through this money coming. Like nah, it's the would I still be doing this shit if I never make another dollar?
And that's the test. Like that's the test. That's where you really get tested what it is that you're in it for. And I've seen this with so many artists where, in any discipline that you're in, you know what I mean, God will eventually kick your crutches away. And whatever it is that you're using to prop yourself up to do this, whether it's money, whether it's women, whether it's drugs, whether it's whatever it is that you're using to fuel this, that is not from just a really pure place, the devil's gonna call that bet, bro. Like, and it's gonna say, okay, so you do it for this. Okay, well, what if we take this away? Would you still do it? It's about the money. Okay, all right. Well, this album don't sell as much. You still love this shit, right? And those times, I mean, that's when you really find out what the fuck you made out of, and you really find out, what your art means to you and where you want to take it. And so. And just to be clear, there's nothing wrong if you decide that it ain't.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I know a few people who's like, man, you know what? I realized I don't love this shit like that. Like I can do it. I may have the talent, but that ain't where my heart is.
Yeah, I remember watching getting the Seinfeld, the Coffee and Cars comedian joint, and Seth Rogen was on the joint, and he was saying how I thought I wanted to be a comedian until I hung around people that really wanted to be comedians, and I saw like, nah, nigga, I ain't about that life. And that's okay. You know what I mean? That's honest. That's just like, nah, I thought I wanted it, but nah, I see what true desire looks like on this guy, and I ain't got that. Yeah. So automatically, if we're in the same profession, I'm gonna lose to him every fucking time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. On the album, you both talk about rap kind of having a shelf life. You talk about an athlete, you kind of on the athlete's timeline, and you talk about that too. Do you think rap really does have a shelf life? Is there an end point for it?
No, but to be specific for mine, I was speaking more of your peak.
Oh, okay.
Like I always compare it to climbing a mountain. You work hard to get to that apex. However big your mountain is, we all have an apex. As soon as you reach that apex,
there's nowhere to go down.
You're going down. It's about how fast you go down. And so mine is, I was comparing the peak of your career, not saying you still can't have one, but the peak of your career is about the shelf life of an athlete, typically a football player, which is like 3 to 4 years.
That's straight up. High school, like rap is high school.
Yeah.
You got like 4 years to really make your name, get your money, And if you're good, then those 4 years can set up like the next 20 years of your life.
Now,
You know what I
peak
mean?
in terms of success or peak in terms of skill?
I'm thinking peak really in terms of success, because your skill,
your skill don't
that don't got nothing to do with being
deteriorate.
successful.
Yeah.
And your skill, and even shit, even if it does deteriorate, you can get better, you know what I'm saying, in your craft as you get older.
Yeah.
But it could be a point where, yeah, you're better now, you're technically better, but no one gives a shit now. So even though you're better skill-wise, you're going to do worse success-wise, even though, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of them things, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how it go.
I'm gonna push back a little bit because you guys, your skills are as sharp as they've ever been, and I'm seeing other people like Jay is putting out some of his best music ever. Roy's put out some of his best music ever. Roy's probably had his most successful.
Nah, that's my nigga.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know,
Yeah, well, skill-wise, well, once again, I mean, skill-wise is just, you know, I mean, you know, rap is not a physical game.
Yeah.
Being a rapper is a physical game. If you're gonna do talking the tour and the interviews at 11 o'clock at night and shit, like, if you're talking all that, then yeah, you can kind of age out of that shit, and it's just like, okay, well, maybe I can't go as hard as I used to physically.
Yeah.
But if we're just talking skills, I mean, it's a mental game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you see MCs that can get sharper if you keep honing that skill.
Should.
Yeah, you can actually get sharper as you get older because you experience more and your perspective grows bigger and you have more to talk about. You experience more life and you can put that into words. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can get better skill wise. I think it just comes to a point where, like, I had the realization when my buddy was talking a couple months ago, and it's kind of the juxtaposition of you get better as you get older, but you care less. So it's like, you know, back when I was 25, you know, I'm 10 times the fucking MC I was at 40 than I was at 25.
Yeah.
But my care, not my love, but my care about making it and the game and getting this and getting that, I had that at 25, you know what I'm saying, even though I didn't have the skill.
Yeah.
Now I got 10 times the skill, but I have 1/10 of the care.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just, you know, make dope records with my brother. We make some hot shit.
Yeah.
We see the world, we tour, and they gotta take my ass home.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what just the difference. Yeah, MCs can get sharper, but the older you get, like, I really think the less you care about the big thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's some muscle too. I saw Evidence was talking to Talib Kweli, and he was saying, look, a lot of people they start practicing, right? And like, after, you can't just, like, if you stop shooting 3 hours a day, you're not gonna go out and just start draining threes. And if you stop writing, you're not gonna be able to. You'll rhyme 1 or 2 syllables, but you're not gonna be doing the kind
You
of
ain't
complex
gonna be,
stuff.
Nah, it's a muscle. Like, you have to work it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, even for me, prior to the Little Brother album,
I was fresh off.
I was fresh off of Project RPM,
and I was relatively fresh off of
No News.
Yeah, because I finished No News in like March of 2018, and we started work on May the Lord Watch in October 2018.
I finished up RPM in October of 2018 and started, but it was very important for me because I hadn't been working that muscle for like 2 years. So it was important that, and it wasn't planned this way, but it was important that I underwent that process because I wouldn't have been able to do what I did on May the Lord Watch if it wasn't for RPM.
Yeah, I solo records. That was like the undercard fight. We need to get you a tune-up fight, bro. Before you get and step in this ring, this goddamn, because hey, these niggas bring that smoke. You better have that shit right. You're gonna get embarrassed out here.
Yeah. So y'all brought back UBN, and you know, TV is, you know, arguably a little bit better now than it was in 2005. More voices, more diversity. But
I'll argue that. I would say yeah.
But you think the mental show is still alive in hip hop in 2019?
I mean, I don't think it's as. I mean, there's still just a lot of ignorant, foolish shit.
That's not gonna go anywhere.
That ain't ever going nowhere. We will be here forever. Like KRS-One, that shit ain't going nowhere. But you know what I do think and specifically what we wanted to show in this record, just the commentary is not so much on, pointing the finger at rappers and saying, "Oh, you a coon." It wasn't that. This record was more so about just black life and how black lives are treated as commodities. You know what I'm saying? How Black Death is treated as a commodity. There's money in that shit. You know what I mean? And just, so in thinking of conceptualizing the album and thinking, it was just like, okay, well, UBN still exists in 2019, but at this point, they're almost like a dying art form. They're almost a dying system because network television is, my son is 13 years old. I can count on one hand the number of times he's watched television this year. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, so it's kind of a dying thing. So UBN in 2019, it's not, it's not looking at rappers. It's just saying, hey, this guy just died, Percy Miracles, and we're selling tickets. How can I monetize it? We're selling tickets to his shit on the site for $69.95, and that sounds ridiculous, but does it? You look at Nipsey. You know what I'm saying? You look at, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, damn, so that was kind of the thing now, you know what I mean? That was the thing of just taking the same UBN conceit and concept, but making it relevant to a way that felt fresh for 2019.
So why did you guys name the center where Percys Service was held after Clifton Powell?
Have you not seen this movie? Clifton Powell. Have you seen my movies?
Menace and,
nigga, I love Clifton Powell, dog. Shout out to Clifton Powell. Yo, Clifton Powell, go get it. Clifton Powell is the type nigga, you will see that nigga on an Amazon flick like Mama Who Burnt the Cornbread or some shit, and then you'll fuck around and see that nigga in Star Wars. Right. Like, he gets to, not just gets to the bag, he gets to every bag. Every bag. There's not a bag that Clifton Powell will let pass him by. Clifton Powell, my nigga.
Him and Sam Jackson, all right.
Same dude. I love it.
So you rap about food for thought and medicinal bars. Why is it so important for you to entertain and enlighten with your words?
I don't think my goal is never to enlighten. I mean, at least that's not my thought, because I think that's just kind of some self-righteous shit to sit down and say, I'm gonna enlighten you, brother. Like that, get the fuck out of here, nigga. That's substitute teacher rap, nigga. Get the fuck out of here. So, it's never that. I just think I try to be honest in my stories, and just in telling them stories, people hear some of themselves in that, and that feels kind of enlightening. Or if you just hear someone telling their story and they maybe put a spin on something in a way that you maybe never considered it, you know what I'm saying? That was just one of those things, like, and one of my, I have like dozens of songwriting teachers, I could say, but one of the guys who did that for me a lot was Prince. Prince was just, his lyric, people, they get into his whole, just the ass out, the screaming, the guitars, the, whatever. But he just wrote really great lyrics. And, one of his songs, Something in the Water Does Not Compute.
I was literally thinking of that song.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Something in the Water Does Not Compute. The first line of that song is, you think you're special and so do I. Right. That sums up that entire relationship. That says everything. That says everything about how he views himself, how he views the girl, how the girl views herself. Like, that is an entire relationship summed up in 2 sentences, 2 bars, 1 bar, So, he was just one of those guys that just really being succinct and really just being kind of quippy, you know what I mean? Like, he would just state these really profound truths in just seconds. It's like, god damn, you know what I mean? So that was kind of what I just always try to do in my rhymes. Just get to the heart of it, say that truth, and get it out.
And is it true you wanted to be a teacher? You were thinking about being a teacher before rapping?
Yeah, man. I thought I was going to be a teacher.
So do you feel like this gives you an opportunity to share knowledge in a different way?
In a different way, definitely. and not
be teaching your kids.
Yeah.
y'all kids is terrible.
It's fucking terrible. Nah, I mean, I definitely think it does, man. And not necessarily through me rhyming, but just through my experiences and being able to mentor younger guys and give it to them real, give it to them straight. You know what I mean? Like, and just
Scared Straight with Rapper Pooh.
yeah.
Coming soon. Coming this fall.
You be in, baby. So I definitely think it's and I appreciate it. I think I appreciate that job more now than if I was a scholastic teacher. You know what I'm saying? Because I get to teach them life shit now. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't just about rap. It's life. You know what I mean?
And so few artists, they don't understand how rap is not going to save your life at all. It can change your life. It can put things in place and can, at best, you know, if you make money, it can create order in your life.
Enhance your life.
Enhance it. But nigga, whatever that shit is in you that you ain't cleaned up, nigga, if you don't clean that shit up, that shit is gonna come out one way or the other. In your music, in your career, in your person, your marriage, like, and you ain't got a verse in you that's gonna clean all that shit up.
Nah.
You gonna have to do that work on your own.
One of the jewels you drop is about perfection just being perception.
Hell yeah, man. Ain't no such thing as perfection, man. We all flawed. You know what I mean? And in some way, we all flawed, and for me, it's about embracing those flaws. You know what I mean? You know, you try to change what you can, but you just gonna be flawed at something. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's perfect, and the one thing that it's really annoys me, a pet peeve, is people who put on the air that, you know, oh, nigga, I do everything right. Bullshit. You doing something wrong right now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Just
so
saying that shit is a mistake.
So for me, man, that was important, you know, to say, and just like, yo, we all are flawed in some way, and we have to accept, you know, that we're flawed. We have to accept that other people are flawed. You know what I mean? And that's kind of my thing, man. I have this thing where I always tell people that people in general have a thing where if somebody, like, I'll say something to you or a situation happen and you'll respond a certain way, and when you tell somebody a story, the first thing they say is, see what you should have did was, or nigga, what I would have did was. And it's like,
This
nah,
ain't about you, though.
this ain't about you. You ain't me. We're not going to respond to the same situation the same way. So I have to remember that and put myself in your, like, if I was you, not me, you. You know what I'm saying? How could you have possibly done things
How could you have done
different?
that better?
And
based on who you are.
Based on who you are.
I am.
Not me, you. And in that same thing, you have to realize, hey, listen, you gonna do something, I may not respond that way, but I have to respect, like, yo, that's how you're gonna respond to it. And I can't be offended necessarily by your response to something if that's the way that you do things.
Hey guys.
All right.
I'm sorry, but down here closed at midnight. Close everything out. Totally close everything out. Because they got a vacuum clean up for the next morning.
Gotcha.
All
Gotcha.
good.
All right, we're back with part 2 of the AFH
Right.
UVN production.
All right.
We had some technical difficulties, but we're back on the air.
We back in a new studio, undisclosed location. You know what I'm saying? Peter Rosenberg pulled some strings for us and shit.
Yeah, you know, so one of the things I noticed on this album and all your projects is you guys don't just do 16 and then 16. A lot of times you'll break it up where one will do 10 and one will do 4. You'll speak simultaneously. So can you talk about why that kind of back and forth is important in a group project?
It just keeps it from being boring. It just keeps it from being stale. You know what I mean? Just it's easy to just, okay, 16 hook, my part 16 hook. You know what I mean? That's just, there's no dynamic there. Sometimes I think just switching up the way you do your bars, or switching up the length of how long you go, that can actually change your storytelling. You know what I'm saying? If you tell me, okay, I got 30 bars to tell a story, then I'm gonna write it a different way than if you tell me, all right, you got 8. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a way to tell it in 8 bars, but you better get to that smoke quick, nigga. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be bullshitting. Yeah. So yeah, it's challenging as a writer to push yourself, but then it just for the listener, just keeps the shit from getting stale. You know what I mean? Keeps it interesting.
Especially on this record, I felt as we really got going, I just felt it was important that, we actually did do more songs where we were intertwining and you know, saying parts, you know, coming in and out on each other's verses, just to show that, you know, we were really in sync on this record. Like, it wasn't a phone in thing. It wasn't a, hey, man.
Did the Pooh vocals come in yet?
Did the Pooh vocals, hey, man? Why you ain't singing them damn vocals, dog? Like, it was to really show like we was in this together. You know what I'm saying? For real. So, and because of that, this album sounds more like you're led into a private conversation that we're having with each other, as opposed to niggas just rapping. You know what I mean?
Did you guys record some of it together?
We wrote and recorded everything together.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, everything. We did it all. We did it all in my crib, my home studio, and everything. I mean, we was, you know, just from top to bottom, tip to tail. You know, we wrote each other. You know, we wrote each other's verses. We listened to each other's verses, and we edited each other's verses. Like, it was, you know, in the past, I think it was just definitely, you know, like mic drop moments where I just go and spit a verse and I'm the GOAT, nigga. You know what I mean? But for this one, every verse I finish, every time I finish the rhyme, like, I spit it, and then I looked at him like, yo, man, what you think? That work? What you hear? And likewise for him, we was really in it together every step of the way.
So Right on Time is about the ups and downs. And is that a true line when you say that you would
Very
drive
true,
over?
brother. Very true, man. That's the
Gotta give people your Uber rating.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my Uber rating. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I take pride
Yeah.
in any job that I take on. I took it on. I'm gonna do it right. My Uber rating was a fantastic 4.97.
That's
You
talk
know
to
what I'm
him.
saying?
Talk to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
4.97. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they loved me out there in the Uber streets. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I mean, for me, man, that was a moment in this album where I felt I really turned the corner. And Phonte mentioned it earlier. Obviously, I knew he was very astute, so he was gonna catch on to it. But I would always go to a certain point, and then I would pull back. Like, I would stop, like, before. You know what I'm saying? And this was the first time where I didn't even think about it. I just let it go. And then I was like, oh shit! Like,
I really said that.
do I want to do that? Like, but it's that for me, man. It was important that, you know, the young artists I work with, they know my struggles. They know what I've been through, what I had to do, whatever. But I just felt that it was going to resonate with a lot of people, just that line. And it also shows, like, that's the love I had for this shit. Like, I was willing to do, my idea was, you know, when I went through them valleys, it was like, listen, I messed over some money, I messed over opportunity. I got to build myself back up, climb my way, dig my way out the hole. I'm going to do what I need to do, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take these jobs on that allow me to remain flexible. So when a new opportunity do arise,
I can take it.
I'm able to take it. And that's what ended up happening. So it's real, man. It's all real.
No, man, it's a powerful message that sometimes you need to humble yourself to put yourself back in a position to be where you are.
Hell yeah. And it took me a long time to understand that. Like, and God's plan, bro. Like, I don't think things would have happened the way they happened if I didn't finally humble myself. It took me a long time. I would say in my mind, all right, man, I've been humbled. I wasn't really humbled.
Not yet.
I was just saying it. When I actually had to go out there and drive,
that's a humbling.
nigga, I was humbled. Like, I was all the way humbled.
Whether you want to be or not. That happened.
Humble here now. So that was a turning point. You know, just like it was a turning point for me to put it in the rhyme. It was a real turning point in my career, in my life as well.
Did you ever have any encounters like Jeffrey from Trader Joe's where people did recognize you?
Like one or two. Like, the crazy thing, because when we first came out, like, we only had 2 videos. And so,
and it wasn't even like they went off.
Yeah,
like
they didn't even go off.
It wasn't like
it
on
was
106 every
just a
hour.
video.
Yeah.
So for a lot of times, what I get, not necessarily just in Uber, just in life, like a lot of times people be like, "Yo, man, you look familiar, man. I just can't quite put my finger. I know who you are." And that happened like maybe twice. People recognized who I was driving Uber. That's that line, you know, nigga, that shit bittersweet. Like, nigga, I wish people recognize me, but I wish they don't.
I'm kind of glad they don't.
Yeah.
Not
But
like this.
A few times I definitely had to, hey, man, you look like somebody. And I was like, all right. You know what I'm saying? All right, okay then. Yeah. But, you know, it was just one of them things where, you know, if somebody, you know, when the two people did recognize me, you know, we had a conversation. I mean, it wasn't a thing of, oh man, what you doing driving Uber, dog? What you? Because trust me, nigga, I went to Twitter to see if they had said it.
All right.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm like,
they pulled my Uber driver, nigga.
If they ended up snapping the pic on me and shit, nigga, I went to see. But it was just one of the things. Like, we had a conversation, and they just was just like, yo, like, nigga, you do what you gotta do, dog. Nigga, at least you're out here busting people
anymore.
over the head.
Yeah, it's not that thing anymore with hip hop. Like, I don't think hip hop has that line that has that. I don't think it has that air of it anymore. Of just, if you're a rapper, you're successful. Yeah. You're rich. Yeah. Like rap money is over. Like what used to be like what rap money was in the 80s or whatever, 90s. Like that's what tech money is now.
Yeah. Right.
So rap niggas ain't even on the top of the totem pole of rich niggas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
never were. Just people could front and wouldn't get caught.
Yeah, exactly. You could front, but now you can't really front no more. I mean, you can to some degree on the gram or whatever, but yeah, I think there's more of an understanding now in 2019 of there is a thing called a working musician, and there's no shame in that. There's just, oh, you make music. Oh, yeah, I saw you doing this thing, and I saw you doing that. Oh, you also teach this class. You also, oh, okay, cool. Like, all right, word up. When your next project coming? When you, like, there's an understanding of that now, and there's a conversation that you have now about that probably didn't exist, 15 years ago, where it was just like either you were on or you're just,
nigga, you local,
and you done. Yeah,
broke local, nigga.
On the same song, you talk about the stress that comes with success. So, can you expand on that one?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just, I had again the big part of the album was just, I wanted it to sound like a musical conversation, and so it was, Pooh was talking about his struggles and how it was like, man, I went through this shit and this was fucked up, and I had my ups and downs, and then me on the other side where it's like, I'm the one that supposedly had the ups, but I'm on the other side like, hey man, this shit ain't what you think it is. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it just, a lot of doors open for me, like kind of really fast. And, just a lot of TV stuff. Like I was working on IFC, doing Sherman Showcase. Even before that, like I was working like 2016, I was working on, that was just a crazy year. Like the breaks for VH1, I was doing that. I was working on like the Tigolero album. I was doing, that was also Zoe's album, the Skybrick album. I was co-producing that at the time. And in the middle of all this shit happening, like my dad died and my granddad died, like in the same week. And then my aunt died. And then my mama had a heart attack. And then me and my lady, now wife at the time, we decided we're gonna get married and we buy a house, and all this shit was just happening at one time. And it's just like the funny thing about it, and me and my wife had this conversation the other night, like, you make work, like you do this thing and you say, yo, I'm gonna make this album, I'm gonna do this project, I'm gonna do this mixtape so that I can make this money so that we don't have to work as much. But the trap of success is that when you do great work, it creates more work. So it's a never-ending cycle, you know what I mean? And you have to be your own self-regulating mechanism to say, all right, this is the finish line for me, and I don't give a fuck whatever come after that. is just getting cut the fuck off. This is it. You gotta be on your Mel Gibson and payback shit. Like, nigga, I just want my $60,000, not a penny more, not a penny less.
Yeah.
That's just give me what I came for.
Yeah.
This is what I came for. Give it to me, and then I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Because you niggas ain't about to drive me crazy with this shit. Straight up.
Yeah. You know, sitting alone is another deep one. You talk about the pull of social media, you know, either count likes or fear of missing out. How did you kind of stay away from the allure of that?
Shit, I don't want to be in it. You know, I was the, out of both of us, I was the club guy. You know what I'm saying? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I was in somebody's party, somebody's club, somebody's strip club. I was somewhere. And it just got to a point, you know what I'm saying, you know, where I was just like, yo, man, I'm seeing the same people, hearing the same songs. Like, this shit ain't fun no more. You know what I mean? Like, my wife always, she was like, yo, was it when we started talking that you started? I was like, nah. I was just, shit just wasn't fun no more. And so now, you know, in that particular song, we wanted to write a song just detailing, you know, the FOMO that one may experience by looking at social media, not realizing, or you may realize, but it's like, yo, that shit ain't real.
That shit's a fucking lie.
It's all a lie.
All that shit's a goddamn lie.
And that's why it goes the way it goes, where it's like you have that quick moment of FOMO, and then you're like, nigga, no, I worked hard, nigga, so I don't have to go out, nigga. I'm going to sleep. Yeah. And so the brilliance of that song, you know, the way it was set up was, I'm looking at the people, the nigga on Instagram having this supposed good time, alleged good time,
and wishing he was there, and I'm the guy actually that took the Instagram picture, and you know, I'm creating this lie that it looks great, but really I'm in the party like, nigga, get me the fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that
you
was
talk
just
about strip clubs being torment, like, like, you know.
Yeah. It's just like after 35, the club's a different kind of torment. It's just like, dude, what am I doing here? Like, what am I doing here?
And that turns, you know, y'all keep turning stereotypes on their heads, right? Because like so many rap videos, dudes in the clubs like throwing money, making it rain, like popping bottles, but y'all like, nah, man, I'm tired.
I'm like, tired, man. Like,
it's real.
Nigga,
I mean, it's just,
I just want to binge something on Netflix.
Yeah.
Lay up and do nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
that's my excitement.
That is so exciting.
Yeah, when I open up my Google Calendar and seeing a date that ain't got all these fucking different colors on it because I got shit to do. Yeah. That's exciting. That nigga take my breath away, nigga.
Yeah.
I ain't got shit to do. That's dope.
So you write, I put my life on the line every time I write a rhyme. Was that before or after that breakthrough about, you know, writing about the Uber?
I mean, that was kind of before, but it was definitely more so after.
Yeah.
And it was just, that bar was just really saying how I put me in every verse, every song, every album. I put me in that. Like, this ain't, I'm not talking about nobody else. I'm not just saying a bunch of shit because it sounds good. This is me.
I put my life on
the line. And that's what's like, yo, I put my life on the line every rhyme I design. Y'all sketches sound kind of cute. It's like, yo, because y'all not putting y'all life, and y'all drawing somebody else and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is me, and that's important because the listener, they can hear and they can feel that authenticity, and that goes across whether you in the streets, you in school, you damn work, you know, 60 hours a week, you got 4 kids, you got no kid. Like, that goes across all lines, all boundaries when you're your authentic self. And people, that resonates with people. They can hear it, they can feel it, and that's what that bar, that line really was.
It's the key to all great art, right? Like TV, film, whatever it is, if it's authentic, it penetrates. Because we all identify with the human condition.
And you have to find that. Totally.
Yeah. You know, you talk about another thing that really kind of spoke to me was stepping out on your faith as a heavy path. We kind of got to this earlier, but you know, the grit that it takes to follow your dreams is a beast. So, you know, what sustained you during the hard times?
Man, what sustained me during the hard times? I think what sustained me during the hard times is just knowing that no matter how hard it got, there was never going to be a moment in my life where I didn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? There was never going to be a moment in my life where I could just hit this switch and all the music in my head was just going to stop. All the rhymes that I just hear, words that I'll see and just think of like 6, 7, 8 other words that rhyme with that, or a melody I might hear and sing and want to, you know, think of a harmony to sing under it or what, like, that doesn't stop. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I guess the thing that always kept me going was just, you know, we were joking about it earlier, but, you know, it was just the thought of, dude, what the fuck else are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I don't have another skill set. Like, if I had to teach school or if I had to, you know, get an office job, I mean, you know, yeah, I could do it. I'm not a believer. I'm not one of those guys that, oh, if it wasn't for hip-hop, I'd be dead in jail. Nah, nigga, if it wasn't for hip-hop, I'd be working at FedEx, nigga. Like, just, you know what I mean? It's, shit, I'm always going to work and provide and do for mine. But, yeah, it was just the thought and just the realization of, like, dude, this is never leaving you. You know what I'm saying? So, come hell or high water, you just got to find a way to make this work. Yeah. And just stay in it. And that's what sustained me. Just knowing that even in my lowest moments, the music never stopped. I couldn't never stop hearing music in my head. And that was just my sign of like, yeah, man, like, God ain't finished with me yet. Yeah. I still got more I got to do.
Yep. Well, you guys had the reunion last October?
September. Yeah, September.
Were you surprised at how big the reaction was?
Man, I don't even know if I had time to be surprised. We was goddamn
I was driving.
Yeah, I was damn running through Sean's trying to see what I remember.
I mean, afterwards, I mean, it was an explosion. It was a huge moment in hip hop.
Afterwards, that shit was crazy because it was because we didn't we never had. Like, I think now, you know, we've said this just a lot, like, there's just tools available to us now that we didn't have when we was first doing it. So, Little Brother in 2019 is a completely different experience than Little Brother in 2005 because word can spread quicker and you got tools at your disposal you can use to spread that word. So yeah, it was kind of wild. Like, my Instagram, my IG was going off that day and my phone was going off.
I can say it felt good, you know, all them years, them 9 years, when we weren't active, and all them people saying, man, we need another Little Brother, we need Little Brother out, we need this. It felt good as shit to see when that post went up, when I finally got the look, just the reaction to it. Yeah. Like, it was like, okay, so some of y'all, you know, showing that you ready to stand by the words you were spewing out for the past 9 years.
Good words and good deeds.
Yeah, so that was definitely, you know, it was crazy to see. Just, you know, it's one of them things. Is like, you know, you touched people, and you know, at one point in time, you know what I'm saying, you had a fan base. You just don't know how much of that fan base
carried over.
Going to carry over,
man. Listen,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In that absence, you know what I'm saying? Like, who was going to get back in the car with you? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was an anxious moment as well, where it was like, all right, we did this. Who's still with us now?
Right,
you
just
know?
checking in. You
gotta
do a heat check. Yeah,
you know? Stick my toe in the water. Is the tub still hot? You know what I mean? So it was definitely, you know, an anxious moment as well as you know, just a dope moment to see, like, to be able to see. Yeah. Not necessarily in real time, but damn near close to real time.
Now, with our audience, it's clear you guys are in the same, you know, conversation with Tribe and, you know, Native Tongues and Mos and Kweli. Like, it's that same lineage and the same level of devotion. So, you know, it's crazy. So in the same documentary I watched, Ninth said that you guys were going to open up a can of worms when you did this. So why was Ninth not involved in the project?
I think for Ninth, man, it really just came down to two very big reasons that we just saw that, you know, doing a record with him it just wasn't going to work. We first started this, the three of us together, in the beginning we did start with the three of us, and you know, we had conversations of like, listen, you know, let's do it. You know, he was like, yeah, I want to do it, or whatever. You know, I'm in it. I want to be here for everything. It was all those things in the beginning. And so the first big roadblock, the first big thing that happened was I realized that we had two wildly different understandings of what production was. Ninth was very much a producer in the hip-hop sense, in that he thought of producer as a beat maker, strictly. I was thinking more in a Quincy Jones sense of, I'm thinking producer as a orchestrator and arranger, someone who pulls all the elements together to make the best product. And Ninth was adamant, and you know, he made it very clear, he didn't want any other producers to work on the album. And he, you know, we started with him, we went through some tracks, got a couple that landed, a lot of them didn't, a lot didn't, and it wasn't that, you know, I'll never go on record and say that they were bad beats, they just weren't speaking to us. And you know, when it came time to doing the work of trying to figure out what Little Brother in 2019 would sound like, I don't know if it was just he was unable or if he was unwilling to really do that work. And he felt that his place back in Little Brother as it once was should just be automatic. And I was like, nigga, nah. You know what I mean? Reason being, I mean, several reasons, you know, but it's just mainly because we didn't feel that you can't discredit somebody for who they became in your absence. You feel me? Like, if, you know, if your son, you got a son, whatever, you walked out on your son, and then you come back 15 years later and you see this nigga's a drug dealer, you can't come to him and say, oh, well, son, you know, drug dealing is wrong, and you need to cut that out, leave them streets alone. Nigga, you created that. It was your absence that left that open for that energy to even come into his life. So you don't get to criticize the man that he's become, because he's his own man that you played no part in shaping. So if you are saying, you know, I don't think no other producers should produce on this album, and I'm talking, you know, cats, you know, Pete, Knots, you know what I'm saying, you know, even the Soul Council, like, he didn't want them on the record. You know, he really felt that this was something that he should make all the beats specifically for, rather than what our idea was listen, you know, the beats that you land, the beats are the beats that you land, but this needs to be something that we produce as a unit. It doesn't matter who we get the beats from. I mean, the beats are going to be the feeling of LB, but this is something that we need to come together and do as a unit and as a family. And if we're saying, okay, this is something that we're putting out into the world as a unit, then it's something that we all stand behind. Even if you didn't make every beat, you know what I'm saying? You are still a producer in the classic sense. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even making all the beats on your fucking team. So what make you think you're gonna come over here and, nigga, what? So that was one. Two, it just became a thing where we just saw he, you know, wasn't really willing to commit all the way. We had very different ideas of what commitment meant. So to him, it was, you know, in the beginning, it was, yo, I want to be there for everything. I want to be here. I want to do this. I want to be that, and da-da-da-da. And then the minute he saw that all of his beats were just a lock on the album and we were just going to accept whatever he threw to us, then it became, well, man, what if I do the festival shows and Flash do the regular shows? And it was just like, dude, either all in or y'all out. Halfway in is all the way out, bro. We not doing this shit again. And particularly when we've been through this already one time before, and for something to happen the exact same way, the exact same things that led to our breakup in 2007 with him, we're seeing these exact same things in 2019. One time is a glitch, two times is a feature. I'm good. And that was where, you know, we pretty much just decided to just part ways with him. All the few tracks that we had started with him, we just gave them back and was like, yo, keep them. We ain't using them. We just gonna start over. And you know, and I'm just, you know, just to say, I mean, just to make sure it's clear, it's no beef. You know what I mean? Because there's no beef and there's no beef means that there's something that needs to be resolved. There's nothing that needs to be resolved at all. It's clarity. And you know, I'm clear about where he stands. I'm clear about what you're in it for. And we just want very different things, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But
no, I saw he supported it on social media.
That was bullshit. He didn't support it. That was bullshit. That was bullshit. What that was, he was just saving face, trying to get in front of the story. That's all that was. Because if you really support something, you know what I mean. And listen, let me just 100% clear.
Yeah.
I know what the fuck we made, so I didn't care if he supported it or not. Like, I didn't give a shit because I know the music we made. But you know, there's support and then there's optics. Support is if you got my number, and even if me and you ain't fucking with each other, we're not in business anymore. Support is me saying, hey yo, bro, I know we ain't really rocking whatever like that, but yo, just man to man, musician to musician.
Good luck on the album.
Good luck on the album, nigga. Y'all made a cold ass record. That shit is hard. Just as a fan, nigga, that shit hard. I can't front. You know what I mean? That's true support. Optics is you're on Twitter saying that, oh my God, support my brothers, and nigga, we ain't talked to you since 2018. So cut the bullshit. Like, we all see through that. Like, come on. You know what I mean? So we just wanted to clear the record up on that, you know what I mean? And, you know, throughout this press run, it's never been just a bash knife or do that.
We're trying to be salacious.
Yeah, it's not, nah, it ain't nothing like that. It's just like, we just had very different ideas. We want different things, and, you know, we want those things in different ways. And me and Pooh, you know, we knew what we were setting out to do with this record, and ain't no such thing as halfway crooks, nigga.
Yeah.
Either you in it or you ain't. And if you ain't, that's all good. But either way, just don't waste our fucking time.
So y'all are all in together, recording together, and so y'all got a tour coming up. What's next for you two?
Tour.
We got tour coming, man.
Yeah.
We got dates. We put up phase 1. We actually been adding a few dates.
To phase 1.
Yeah, to phase 1. So we got a couple more dates we're adding. And so we're going to do that, man. And, you know, we got a lot of other things we're going to roll out. We got more visual content coming. We have the vinyl coming. We have merchandise coming. We got a couple other things that we're working on. So we got a lot. You know, it's a steady rollout. You know what I'm saying? We just want one thing at a time. The most important thing in this whole process was the record.
Yeah.
That was the most important thing.
Number one.
Without that being bulletproof,
Springboard.
you have
Yeah,
nothing.
that's just the springboard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
we have accomplished that, and now it's time for us to start getting into the other phases of the program. And, you know, touring is the next phase, as well as vinyl, and then merch.
Yeah.
Then a couple other things we're working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to it here. I know our audience is, you know, crazy for it. I'm crazy for it. I've actually never seen you guys perform together. So
Oh wow.
I've seen both of y'all independently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Victory, see you, like, you know, a bunch of times wherever. So, but yeah. So,
Nah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
fun. man.
it's been a few people that I've seen say online, like, yo, I thought I would never get to experience a Little Brother concert.
Yeah.
Like, either, you know, because I didn't go to one because I was like, oh, I'll catch the next one, and it wasn't the next one. Or
right.
they may have got put onto us when they were young, you know, at the time they were younger. And so now it's you know, it's definitely some anticipation for the live show.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go out here and we're gonna work these kinks out, and it's gonna be festive.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be festive.
Thank you both.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. All day.
All right.